Alright, I want to try something different. I said I wanted to do some deck profiles for TCG, so I don't IRL one. I have my playmat right here, custom made, and I also have the model up as well, so this will be interesting to go for. This is an upcoming deck for the Destined Rivals format. This is Team Rocket's Mewtwo with Spidops. This is looking to be one of the more hyped archetypes of the format, and this list is based off of the deck list that Tord Reckliffe had played to the Aichi Champions League a few weeks ago, I want to say. Unfortunately, did not make day two, but it was still an interesting enough deck that it got a lot of people's attention, myself included, because I've been testing this archetype before that event even happened. So I took his list and I made a few slight adjustments to it, stuff that I prefer in this list instead. And I will go into that right away. First of all, I have 3 copies of Mewtwo EX. Mewtwo is your main attacker. I would want to play 4 in here. The only issue is that I can't find space for it. Having 4 Mewtwo means that it is what you start most. It's your main attacker. You want to start the most. You also need more Rockets Pokemon because Mewtwo has the Power Saver ability, which says that it cannot attack unless you have 4 Rockets Pokemon in play, which thankfully does count Mewtwo. So you just need 3 Bench Rocket. Deletion Sphere does 160 damage, and you discard up to 2 energy from your bench Pokemon. You do 60 more damage for each card, which is important. Because you have a double energy in this deck, so if it counted the double energy, then you would only need to discard 1 card. But because it says card, you can't discard the double energy for the 120. You max out at 280 before modifiers, so we have another way to boost that damage, thankfully, which is really helpful. But we'll get into that later, because next we have the hopefully standard for Tarantula and for Spidops. Spidops is the reason why I'm looking forward to this deck, because I played a lot of Blacephalon and Ganondel when that deck was standard legal. Spidops isn't a Ganondel. It has the charging up attack, charging up ability, I mean, which just says attach a basic energy from your discard to this Pokemon. Naganadel was really good because you just attach fire energy for Blacephalon, and Spidops is just that. You are attaching grass energy from your discard for Mewtwo's attack. It's effectively a rebirth of Blacephalon and Naganadel, but slightly weaker. Another Pokemon we have is 2 copies of Rocket's Articuno. We are mostly using this for the ability Resistance Veil, which makes it so that your basic Pokemon, basic Team Rocket's Pokemon, sorry, cannot be affected by your opponent's effects of attacks. Prevent all effects of your opponent's Pokemon's attacks done to your basic Team Rocket's Pokemon in play. Damage is not an effect. This prevents your Rocket's Tarantula from being attacked by Dragapult's Phantom Dive counters, which is nice because this has 50 HP, so they are knocking it out and putting 10 damage somewhere else. It also means that your opponent cannot use an attack like Frenzied Gouging onto Rocket's Mewtwo to immediately knock it out. So if you want to play a card like Protective Goggles to prevent your weakness, they can't one-shot you no matter what, because you have no weakness, because Protective Goggles removes said weakness, and you also are immune from attacks, from effects of attacks. And the last Pokemon we have is 1 copy of Rocket's Mimikyu. This is a decisive card. It's controversial slightly because it copies your opponent's active Terra Pokemon. So you can copy Dragapult. Unfortunately, there is no Clefairy in the deck, and you will see why. There's no Clefairy in the deck, so you can't copy it for weakness, which is unfortunate. But the other good reason that this card is good is right here in the bottom right hand corner. That retreat cost is empty. You have Guzma in your deck. This Mimikyu is your pivot for said Guzma effect. It is so helpful. That is it for the Pokemon lineup. So getting into the supporters, we have 4 copies of Team Rocket's Ariana. This is why there's no Clefairy in the deck, because Rocket's Ariana says draw until you have 5 cards in hand. That would not be good. Uh, if all of your Pokemon in play are Team Rocket Pokemon, which, as you can see, all of them are Team Rocket Pokemon, so that condition is always going to be filled, you fill your hand to 8 cards instead, and that is much better. As I said, for the Mimikyu, we have a Guzma effect, 4 copies of Team Rocket's Giovanni. This says switch your active Rockets Pokemon with one of your bench Rockets Pokemon. You are switching into this Mimikyu. And if you do, you switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active. That's that's pretty good, because you are just forcing up a Pokemon that you want to knock out. As I said, you're only doing 280, so if they have a 320 HP Pokemon in the active, you can just force it out pretty easily too. For our setup, we have 3 copies of Proton. This is Bridget, but better in this format because currently the rule set is you can't play a supporter turn 1 going first. This breaks that. You may use this card on your first turn going first. Search your deck for up to 3 basic Team Rockets Pokemon, reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Yeah, this just gets our board set up. Most of the time you are searching for, if you have Mewtwo in your active, you're most of the time going to search for 2 Tarantula and, depending on the matchup, either a Articuno or another Mewtwo. In my opinion, I just want to say that because I'm not entirely sure how these matchups are going to go. But yeah, I think you're either searching for a Articuno or Mimikyu, not Mimikyu, Mewtwo, depending on the matchup. And we have one more supporter, Team Rocket's Archer. If any of your Team Rocket's Pokemon were knocked out during your opponent's last turn, each player shuffles their hand into their deck. You draw 5, your opponent draws 3. It's unfair stamp, but on a supporter, so it's really good, and especially because you can draw 7 off of this instead of 5, for reasons we'll see. For the items, one of the most broken item cards I think I've ever seen. Rocket's Receiver. Search deck for a supporter card with Rocket in its name. Put it into your hand. As you can see, all of our supporters are Team Rocket supporters. So this is just 4 extra outs to our supporters. It's really helpful. More consistency. It also makes it so turn 1 we effectively have 7 outs to Proton, because this is what we want to see turn 1. Because we want to get our board set up no matter what. And I don't believe this deck plays Buddy Poffin, so we are heavily reliant on that Proton. Speaking of setting up, we play 4 copies of Ultra Ball. Typical discard 2, search for Pokemon. And here's the interesting choice that Tord played during his run. I'm not sure how I feel about this card, but it does seem interesting on paper. Funny enough, because it's a proxy. Team Rocket's Great Ball, I should say, not Pokeball. It's Capturing Aroma, if you remember that. Flip a coin. If heads, search deck for an evolution Team Rocket Pokemon. If tails, basic. I'm not sure how I feel about this, because most of the time you want to flip heads on this to search for your Spidops. But flipping tails for your basics can always help. Again, it's a coin flip card. I don't know how I feel about it. I might cut them for different cards like Nest Balls just to guarantee some basic search, or maybe like some Poke Gears to draw into more supporters. I'm not sure. We have more discard cards. We have 3 copies of Earthen Vessel because Team Rocket Spidops is accelerating from discard, so having as many discard cards as possible is really nice. Search your deck for, well, discard 1 card, search for 2 basic energy. Unfortunately, we don't play that many basic energies, but being able to discard them at any time is really, really helpful. Recovery, 2 Night Stretcher. Just easily pick up a basic Pokemon or basic energy from your discard and just reattach it. Most of the time you're going to, I assume, pick up grass energy for your Spidops or just for the Mewtwo, but you can also recover the Mimikyu if it gets knocked out and just gust back into it to gust up an opponent's Pokemon. So one of the changes that I made Originally, the list was playing a Wobbuffet. I wanted to play a single copy of Bug Catching Set because looking at the top 7 and getting more outs to Spidops is really helpful when that is your main energy acceleration and damage provider. So I want to get as many outs to Spidops as possible, and one copy of this feels really good because in this deck you have 12 hits. That should tell you how many basic energies we're playing. We are playing 12 outs to hit off the Bug Catching Set. Final item, one copy of Energy Switch. The thought behind this is with Spidops, if you have 3 copies of Spidops out in play, you can go charge up 3 times. You Energy Switch the grass to a Mewtwo that is fresh, and then you attach your second energy and swing. It's helpful to catch back up, and that's really, really helpful, as anyone would ever tell you. And then for our tool cards, we play 2 copies of Lucky Helmet. If your active is damaged by an attack, you draw 2 cards. Most of the time, we're not drawing that many cards. We are mostly just reliant on Ariana to draw cards, so having external sources is always nice. And I did say we were capped at 280. Partial lie. Because our ace spec is max belt, if you are attacking into an EX, you are doing 50 more damage. So this is knocking out your stage 2 EXs. Your Charizard, your Dragapult, most things, unless they have a rare 340, which I heavily doubt. But yeah, maximum belt is probably the best ace spec to play for this because it pushes you to those stage 2 numbers. Now, for stadiums. This is, again, one of the more broken stadiums I've seen printed. Rocket's Factory. Once during either player's turn, if they play a supporter with Team Rocket in its name, you may draw 2. So here's the funny thing. Rocket's Ariana says draw until you have 8 cards in your hand. If you have Rocket's Factory in play before you play Ariana, it effectively says draw until you have 10 cards in hand. That is the effect of a GX attack, if you remember. Eevee and Snorlax GX said fill your hand to 10 cards, and that was once per game. That can be up to 4 times per game with Ariana, and also your Gust becomes a draw 2, your setup becomes a draw 2, Archer says draw 7. As I said, this is a really broken stadium. I could see playing Team Rocket's Watchtower to help with the Noctowl matchup, but because we're not playing that many disruption cards, we're only playing 1 copy of Archer. It's not as good, I believe, but that's just my thought. Finally, for the energy count, as I said, we have 12 outs with Bug Catching Set because we only play 4 basic grass energy. You don't need that much, you just need 3. It is dangerous, I will admit, because if you prize 2 copies, then things can go awry. But you have other attackers. Spidops is always a good attacker, 150 damage max, and also Mewtwo just in general, 160. 1 energy will knock out basic EXs, so prizing 2 energy isn't the end of the world, but it does make things harder. Now, that's the only basic energy we play. Rocket's Mewtwo costs 2 Psychic. How are we paying those 2 Psychics? 4 copy of Rocket's Energy. This is the only double energy in format for Destined Rivals, because all we have is triple acceleration, which is 3 energy and only works on evolution single prizers. So this is our only double energy currently. And it says, as long as this card is attached to a Pokemon, it provides 2 energy of either Psychic or Dark, and it can only be attached to a Team Rocket's Pokemon. Again, all of our Pokemon are Rockets, so this is going to provide our energy. Unfortunately, the only Pokemon that can attack with the Rocket energy is your Mimikyu and your Mewtwo, because we don't play water for the Articuno, and Spidops attacks for a grass energy. But Rocket's energy is still just a disgustingly broken card because of the fact that it's able to provide 2 energy. 2 energy has always been one of the best effects in the history of Pokemon. You have double colorless, you have twin energy, well, twin energy not so much, double colorless, double turbo. to the point where Double Colorless and Twin actually recently got banned in Gym Leader Challenge. It's that broken. But yeah, Double Energy has always been really good, and having it printed for limited Pokemon is no different. It's still just as broken. But anyways, that is the deck profile. As I said, there's a few changes from the Tord Reklev build. Again, it's just to fit the just to fit what I like for this kind of deck. And these kind of decks, like the quote unquote energy flood decks, are the decks that I like to play. So I'm really looking forward to playing this deck, especially because it also gives me nostalgia of Blacephalon to Ganondorf. But anyways, that's going to be it for my deck profile on Team Rocket's Mewtwo and Spidops. If there are any questions regarding the deck, I'd be more than happy to answer them in the comments. But for now, I am going to leave you all with that. Be sure to like and subscribe the video because it helps out a lot to continue doing this. And I really want to jump back into making content because it is really fun. But for now, I'm going to leave you all with this. And I hope that everybody watching has an electrifying day. Later.